Hi, I'm Lisa Dion, and I am the founder and director of the Play Therapy Institute of Colorado and the creator of Synergetic Play Therapy. And I'm here today to share with you the amazing story that has gone into the creation of Synergetic Play Therapy. My journey with the creation of Synergetic Play Therapy has many beginnings. There are many stories, many experiences that have come together to create Synergetic Play Therapy. But there are a handful that really stand out as cornerstones and turning points in my own psyche and in my own understanding of human development and what it takes to really connect with another human being that profoundly impacted the creation of Synergetic Play Therapy. One that really set the stage is a story. It's very personal, very near and dear to my heart, but truly it was the birth of Synergetic Play Therapy occurred when I was 29 weeks pregnant, and that was almost 8 years ago. I am the very proud mom of Avery Grace, who was in my tummy at 29 weeks. But one Friday night, I was in a hit-and-run car accident with Avery, and the impact of the car accident sent me into contractions, and so 29 weeks I was immediately sent to the emergency room because I was going into labor, and that was a very scary experience for me because I knew that there was a probability that I might give birth to my little one within a couple days if the contractions didn't stop. So I was in this hospital, and it was a very trying time for me on many levels, full of lots of anxiety, lots of fears. The doctors were trying everything that they could to try to calm my body and to decrease the contractions that were starting. My contractions would come and go in waves. And there was a certain amount of medicine that they were able to give me, and at some point, if on that journey my body didn't respond, I was going to have to deliver Avery. And with that said, I also was told that I had to stay in the bed because they were trying so hard to contain what was going on for me. I wasn't able to get out of bed and move. And for me, following my intuition and allowing my body to do what it needs to do is a huge part of who I am, and is actually a huge part of Synergetic Play Therapy. And so I was in bed, not able to move. I'd just been impacted by a car. My body is going in and out of contractions, and next to me were two monitors. One monitor was tracking my vitals, and then the other monitor was tracking Avery's monitors. And I stared at those monitors for 2 days, just watching everything go in and out of sync between us. At times when we were in rhythm with each other, and times when we were out of sync with each other. And through all of the terror of the situation, there was something about that absolutely caught my attention, and I couldn't help but watch in awe of what was happening between Avery and I. And the story leads to the last night before they were going to give me the final dose of the medicine. The following morning I was going to get one more dose, and my contractions were either going to stop or Avery was going to be delivered at 29 weeks. And I was really clear at that point that I was not in my own flow. I was not trusting my intuition. I was very much out of sync with myself. Avery and I were going in and out of being in sync with each other, but there was so much stress and anxiety going on in the room and in my own body that I had lost myself. I detached from myself. And I knew intuitively that I had to do something. And so, against doctor's orders, I waited until the nurses went into the other room, and my husband was fast asleep in the room on the couch next to me, and I got out of bed. and I let my body do what it intuitively needed to do. I needed to access my authentic self in order to hear my own intuition tell me what needed to happen in that moment to save what was going on with my baby. And I walked around the room, and I moved and I stretched, and I let the trauma shake out of my system, which is so important in a trauma process. And as I was doing that, I walked by a mirror, and I caught a glimpse of myself in a mirror, and I just stopped, because the shock of me standing there pregnant in a hospital room like hit me. The impact of that, it's interesting, I'm even using that language as I'm describing it. Another hit, another impact. But it was like the shock of the reality of what might happen the next morning just absolutely hit me. And it was like in a split second, something just pulled me so inside. And I remember grabbing my belly and closing my eyes. And I remember just beginning to breathe and connect, and I got really present and really mindful, and I just began this journey of attunement with Avery. And then all of a sudden I felt her, like not just a little bit, but like deeply, deeply felt her little being. And to this day, I know in my heart and I know my psyche that that was the moment I became a mom, which is a very profound moment for me. And I held on to my belly, and intuitively, I don't know what in the world made me start to do this, but I started dancing, like dancing. And I was holding my belly, and I was dancing around the room, and I was swaying, and my eyes were closed, and I didn't care about anything else. It was just this moment with me and Avery, and I felt this attunement piece just get deeper and deeper, and I felt my system calm, and I felt her system calm, and we were regulating together. Although at the time I didn't know that's what it was called, but that's what was happening. And I was able to find a place of settling, and I made my way back to bed and was actually able to get some sleep that night. And then the next morning, everyone came rushing into the room. It was the final dose of medicine. There were probably 10 people in the room. Anxiety is through the roof. What's going to happen? And immediately, I look over at the monitors, and Avery's vitals are spiking. The contractions are going, and the medicine was not working. Like, my body is actually ramping up. It wasn't actually slowing down. And again, that something pulled me inside. Like, you've got to do something here, you know, like, gotta connect. And I just closed my eyes, and I flashed on the dancing that happened the night before. And I blocked everybody out in the room, blocked out the fear, blocked out the noises, went inside, connected with myself, connected with Avery, attached to myself again, allowed my authentic self to emerge again, allowed my intuition to speak to me again. And I breathed, and I breathed, and I literally watched on the monitors our vitals get in sync with each other, and simultaneously the contractions started to settle, and they settled, and we were sent home later that afternoon. So you might ask, what does that have to do with play therapy? And at the time I didn't know what that had to do with play therapy. It was just a profound moment in my life, except that there was something about that got me so curious about what happened that night, looking in the mirror and being able to attach to her and realizing I helped do something to her nervous system. It's like somehow I helped pattern her nervous system in those moments in a new way, and I helped give her a new experience, and I helped give myself a new experience. And there was something then about the two of us, the synergy between the two of us, that actually became great enough and strong enough that it actually surpassed everything else that was occurring at that time. It surpassed my body, it surpassed the anxiety in the room, but it was the synergy. But it started with me, and it started with my willingness to go internal and to be mindful and to be able to touch in on my experience and to be authentic and not to act as if, and to challenge the shoulds in my head. And when I did so, I was able to connect with another human being in such a way that it accessed the lowest parts of their brain stem, which now I have the language to talk about it, and was able to help her regulate. And so I'm not going to say that then things were a piece of cake in my pregnancy after that, because that set the stage for a whole lot of other complications. But there was something about that experience that then helped me catch a glimpse of what I had actually been feeling was missing in all my play therapy that I had studied up until that point. I started studying play therapy in 2002, and I studied every form of play therapy that I could get my hands on, and I could see the magic in play therapy. I could see the transformation in the children, but there was something within me that didn't feel quite complete in the play therapy journey, and there was a piece that I felt like I couldn't fully access with the kids. I could only go so far, and I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to go to the deepest level possible with the children. I wanted to feel me and feel them in the room at a really profound level. And something about my experience with Avery gave me a little glimpse of what that might be. So I'm going to fast forward to her birth. She made it to 39 weeks, yay. And she was born with a pretty highly dysregulated nervous system, which then sent me on my next journey to study neurology, to study biology, to study physics, to study sensory processing, nervous system regulation. I also, on the journey, found myself studying things like quantum physics and studying human development at a really in-depth level, studying emotional development. I came across ideas like windows of tolerance and thresholds, and ideas about attunement and affect attunement, and words like collaborative communication and the significance of authenticity and emotional expression. I found myself really recalling on a huge part of my past, which had to do with studying mindfulness and the mind, and learning about, what is the mind really, and what are the capacities of the mind, and what is this whole transference, countertransference thing really about, and what is this projective process really about. And so many, many, many journeys, many teachings, many disciplines have come together to create a new lens that emerged in my mind for the play therapy work that I do. And I really hit a point where one day, because it really did feel like one day, it was like a new paradigm opened in my life, and I was able to see the healing of children happen not so much from a metaphorical, symbolic level, but from a biological perspective, to really be able to understand what is happening in their brain. How does play therapy really work? What's really going on? What's going on inside the therapist? What does it take for a therapist to help a child and themselves truly access the lowest parts of their brain, to reorganize their brainstem on a profound, profound level? What does it take for a therapist to be courageous enough to allow their authentic self to emerge in the playroom? And then to be able to model to the child what that looks like, so the child can get in touch with their authentic self. And that's the lens that synergetic play therapy was birthed out of. And the result is a very cutting edge, new, fresh, inspiring, rejuvenating process that not only has the ability and capacity to heal the child, but the therapist also gets to go on their own healing journey as well, and that's okay. And the synergy that emerges in the playroom and the healing that gets experienced in the playroom as a result of the synergy between the therapist and the child with this framework is nothing short of completely profound. The work is beautiful, it is profound, and it is transformational. And I am so blessed and so excited to be able to share synergetic play therapy